Reprogram your conversations. Our very capable brain maintains a record of past events. It has different cupboards segregated for different kinds of memories. Scientifically speaking, it is divided into three parts: implicit memories, explicit memories, and motor memories. Motor memory, also called as your muscle memory. This particular storage space in your head is responsible for all the coordination and reflex action. Explicit memory. The conscious and the intentional memory forms your explicit memory. The facts you learn and recollect when you want to are stored here. Implicit memory. That enables your unconscious to act. Your behavior derives from your implicit memories, such as waking up at 6 a.m. every day in the morning, and so on and so forth. Declutter memories and create a fresh playlist. It is our implicit memories that we need to work upon when it comes to building our image from scratch. Reprogramming begins with the untapped memories we think we don't have an access to. Most of our actions and reactions emerge from this particular spot in our brain. Often we take fear-based actions based on our unpleasant memories. Our brain is capable, but it doesn't know how to keep aside the past experiences from hindering the present. Every time you fear a new relationship or taking up a new job, you should know it's a past that's talking. Whenever you talk negatively about yourself, it is someone who said something, somewhere just to put you down, that you are channeling in your present. Our brain needs a refresher every now and then. Otherwise, this periodic pain will make you suffer. It will tarnish every ounce of your confidence you try to show. It makes sense if you are aware of what's playing on your mind all the time. Be self-aware so that you can get a better playlist uploaded. I finished my graduation and stepped out of my comfort zone to combat my fears. I moved to a different city alone to carve a new identity. I was tired of being told who I am and what I should do. I not only prioritized myself but adopted habits to improve my self-image. I read books, lots of them, and devoured knowledge from various characters and their creators. Exposing yourself to knowledge and building a better worldview always helps in changing all the past recordings and creating a unique playlist. I started with positive affirmations like I'm confident, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm talented, I'm intelligent, I can do it, I'm happy, people love me, and I make a difference. I changed my routine, got my physical fitness in place, and took some homeopathy course for well-being and mind healing. I began to look a little more presentable now and got approved by myself and others to some extent. People around me noticed the change, which motivated me to take care of myself. I felt much better with these baby steps I took. It's that time and then today. I can't recognize that meek, underconfident person anymore. I love the younger me. She was the foundation of who I am today. That person I was in the past made me kinder, but the process of becoming who I am today is much more gratifying. I know what I fought and I know what people fight every day. Just because people cannot witness the battlefield you are slaying at doesn't mean you did not do anything at all. Other people are mere observers. It's you who has to take the battle head on. The victory is already written. It is already yours even before you take the first step. It lies in the resolution you make. My victory lied at the moment I decided to chuck my past and live in the moment. Rather, better that moment to build a concrete, satisfying future. It is a constant process, but it doesn't actualize until you work on your image in the present. People know your achievements the moment it echoes in your vibe. This was my first step towards loving myself for the way I was. I decided to be proud and happy of my being. I felt a deep sense of liberation when I started penning down my thoughts in my diary and reflected on them. I got the answers that helped me move ahead in my journey. Writing meditation. Writing. This is probably my favorite part of self expression and image building. It is satisfying. You can write anything and get away because nobody will read it. And it is the best way to talk to yourself. You ask me how? When you write, you will see it's not just your hands moving, but your entire body is synchronized. You speak to emphasize the words, you listen to your own words, and you put your brain to think of the right word. When you find the right word, you put it down and express yourself. It is a mindful habit that people who want to seize the moment practice. Take a sheet, divide it into two parts. On one part, write all the things you like about the world, and on the other, what you don't. Things I like and things I don't. So, for example, things I like would be travel, books, people, sleep, exercise, cook, eat. Things I don't. I don't like procrastination. I don't like cats. I don't like greasy food. I don't like eating junk. Weigh in and see what weighs better and why. If the negatives weigh better, make a note of how you can change it, both for yourself and the world. The moment you give 10 minutes to this activity every day, you will notice how you started incorporating the changes. You emulate the positives, make them stronger, and tackle the negatives by converting them to your advantage. Be reasonable. It's not going to change in 1 minute, but step by step, make this a habit to write and weigh the pros and cons. This mindful analysis will help you get rid of negative self image because you will start emulating and shaping your value system. This value system is not inspired by anyone, but it is your own. Give this a week, and God, the changes will surprise you. When you start working on the negatives, you also realize that you are visualizing positive outcomes by writing them down. You are asking for them to be true by acting on them. Like the saints say, ask and you shall receive. You will watch it unfold in real time. Try to increase the time too. Your language doesn't have to be perfect. You're not writing for Oxford. This is no exam that you have to pass with flying colors. This is for you, solely you. Journaling your thoughts always brings you clarity you are able to assess better. And it helps even more if you have no one to speak with. It's not possible to be surrounded by people 24/7, but it is possible to write what makes you suffer and solve it. You should understand what you have written because it is a mirror of your own feelings. This exercise helped me gain an insight into the parts I was not aware of. It brought stability in my thoughts and behaviors. I credit my success so far from writing because this is how I talk to myself. This is how I combated my internal fears and faced them. My self-awareness grew and I realized my potential in my personal and professional arena. The confidence in trusting myself and advising myself naturally affected my personality. It blossomed. I make sure it continues to blossom this way. It all eventually started from somewhere. Understanding self-image is the beginning. Self-image is the way we see ourselves in the real and virtual mirror. If we see ourselves in a positive light, then we certainly have a sanguine image, and that reflects in the way we behave. Similarly, if we constantly ridicule ourselves, we are bound to develop a negative image. You don't have to always be a Mahatma in loincloths to achieve a positive self image. It is right within you. By the end of this book, we are going to awaken it together. You are precious. Hope you know that. Who remembers Judith Durham? Oh, anyway, there was a gorgeous Australian pop star charming the world with her mellifluous voice. She was absolutely stunning. As a lead singer for her band, The Seekers, she hit the road on a world tour, leaving behind traces of constant hit songs. Her band was known as the first ever Australian group to have a number one hit overseas. While Durham peaked on the music charts, minting money like never before, her inner turmoil surfaced to be completely opposite. She was emotionally haywire. Over the years, her fans grew concerned for her health. She gained a considerable amount of weight and it deeply disturbed her. She began to hate her face, calling it pudgy and despising her eyes for being too small. She developed an unbearable hatred for her body, considering her fuller figure unattractive. When a much skinnier model Twiggy came in the scene, her self loathing grew. She worked hard day and night to shed some pounds. Despite all her efforts materializing, she felt fat. She developed an image in her head, loathed it, yet stayed with it. People around her made it no better. They secluded her too. Her loneliness pushed her to depression. Whenever she stepped out, fat shaming would follow her in disguise. There was nobody she could open up to. I was just consumed by it, she said. You could go to a doctor and ask for diet pills, but I didn't know if there was anybody I could have talked to who could have changed inside my head, who could have convinced me it's all right to look like this. Her self esteem was crushed because of how she perceived her self image. She needed help but didn't know where to find it. Many of us are facing or have gone through similar situations in life. We have found our own ways to deal with it. One needs to be aware of what's happening within. Gradually, she won the uphill battle and made peace with her new self. She came to the point of acceptance and decided to remain authentic and hold her self esteem close to her chest. Now, what are the learnings from this chapter? Embrace who you are first, then begin to make changes. The starting point of any transformation begins with first learning about yourself. Write, write, write. It will make your heart super light. The more you begin to accept the changes around you, the more receptive you become. Whether those changes are for good or adverse, it is important to be accommodative. Have healthy conversations with yourself on a daily basis. Don't think much before giving priority to yourself for the sake of your own mental health. What you weigh importance upon will decide your course of the future. If you don't give yourself enough importance, how is the world supposed to do so? Comparisons will always bring misery because at some point you will find some people better than you. Rather feel happy with what you have been blessed with. Keep asking yourself questions regularly. You will find answers to them the moment you start asking.